Welcome to Orenda Books at Bedtime. I'm Karen Sullivan, I'm publisher of Orenda Books, and tonight we have a real treat for you. Tonight we're going to be hearing from Doug Johnston, reading from Breakers, his gritty and gripping psychological thriller set in Edinburgh. Now, we've had some incredible early quotes in for this one. Ian Rankin says that this is Doug's best book yet, utterly unputdownable. Mark Billingham, Willie Vlautin, James Salas, Martin Waits have all weighed in to say this is an outstanding book, and I couldn't agree more. It's moving, it's dark, it's thrilling, and above all, I think it's really important. There's a love story at its heart, but there's also some of the most beautifully drawn characters you may ever read. This is what it's about. 17-year-old Tyler lives in one of Edinburgh's most deprived area. Coerced into robbing rich people's homes by his bullying over older siblings, he's also trying to care for his little sister and his drug addict mum. On the job, his brother Barry stabs a homeowner and leaves her for dead. But that's just the beginning of their nightmare. Because that woman is the wife of Edinburgh's biggest crime lord, Deke Holt. With the police and the Holts closing in and his shattered family in devastating danger, Tyler meets posh girl Flick in another stranger's house, and he thinks she might just be his salvation. Unless he drags her down too. This is a pulsatingly tense, deeply moving psychological thriller from the best-selling author of The Jump and Fault Lines. Praise for Fault Lines included a cracking and highly original thriller Johnston never fails to deliver, says Mark Billingham. Megan Abbott says, as psychologically rich as it is harrowing, I've come to expect nothing less from Doug Johnston, one of the genre's premier writers. Now I'm going to pass this over to Doug.
Hi, I'm Doug Johnston, and I'm going to read from my new novel Breakers, which is a book about a family of housebreakers, which is nice. In the hallway, Tyler could hear Barry and Kelly downstairs, rummaging and snooping, the cabinet door opening and closing, the clank of something metal, the sounds of people's lives being turned upside down. In the next bedroom, he hit the jackpot. A teenage boy, a gamer with an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4, loads of games, controllers and headsets, other add-ons. He went to the hall cupboard and pulled out a duvet cover, went back and filled the thing. He looked around. A Hibs poster on one wall, the cup-winning team standing around the trophy, a picture of Kim Kardashian with her bum sticking out on the wall opposite. Some glossy motorbike and car magazines piled up next to the bed, standard spread of joggers, trainers and hoodies across the floor. It could have been Tyler's room, if Tyler lived in a £1 million house with money to burn. He looked about for any signs of the boy's identity, but didn't see anything. Girls tended to have more of that stuff than boys. Their names in fairy lights above the bed, printed off selfies with BFFs stuck to mood boards or mirrors, names on diaries. Tyler preferred when they did houses with girls. He could lift something small to give to Bean as a present. It was also more calming being in that female space compared to the shoot-em-ups and hot rods, the wrestling and rugby of boys' rooms. He walked to the next bedroom, but it was just a guest room, simply furnished bed and desk, nothing worth taking. He got on his knees and checked beneath the bed. Nothing. He realised he hadn't checked under the bed in the main bedroom, so went back and crouched down, played the torch beam under there. He sat on his haunches staring for a long time. Eventually he reached in and pulled it out. He'd never seen a sawn-off shotgun before. He'd fired plenty of air guns in his time, aiming at coke cans on waste ground near home, but this was different league. He put the torch down and lifted the gun in both hands, felt the heft of it. There was a part of the underside of the barrel that slid backwards and forwards on his right hand. Pump action. It made him think of Call of Duty. He didn't know how to check if it was loaded. His gloved fingers stroked the trigger. He stood up with the shotgun in his hand and looked at himself in the dresser mirror. Pointed the barrels at the mirror and made a face. He swung the gun round to see it in profile, posed like a soldier, then back again, sniper style, his eye lined up along the sight. He dropped to one knee, then spun round, imagining Barry bursting through the bedroom door, getting a blast in the face. He heard a noise. Outside. Wheels on gravel, engine cutting out, clunk and blip of a car door being closed and locked. He scurried to the window. There was a car parked in the driveway and he caught a glimpse of someone stepping towards the front of the house, a woman in leggings and trainers. Shit. He listened. He could hear Barry and Kelly downstairs still clearing out the living room. He couldn't have heard the car. He saw himself in the mirror. He was still holding the shotgun. Fuck. he said.
Thanks very much, Doug. I can't praise this book highly enough. He is probably one of the best psychological thriller writers around. Chris Brookmeyer, for instance, says Doug Johnson is Scotland's truest exponent of noir. He writes novels that are punchy, fast-paced, and sometimes gruelingly dark, unflinchingly challenging his readers by taking them to places that are emotionally and ideologically uncomfortable. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next Sunday at 8 p.m. for another episode of Orenda Books at Bedtime.